I'm going to discuss about the request module of the Python, which will help to automate the REST API. So what we discuss in this tutorial. So here is the topics. First, I will introduce a request. What is the request? How to install the request? How we automate the Velo API methods, right? I will show some live example, and then how we verify below, like response, content, status code, headers, values. Next, how we add details in the request, like query parameter, headers value, as well as the JSON body, and how we handle the authentication by using the request library. Next, how we inspecting request, and how we handle SSL certificate verification. So the request library is the standard for making HTTP and HTTPS request in Python. This is one of the Python module which will helps to automate the REST API. This is very easy. We can install, like just run pip command and install request. It will download the request module and install in your system, in your Python folder. REST API automation, right? This is very simple. Like just call the request dot get method. For get method, just call the request dot get, pass the URL, it will return the response. Similar type for the post, we need to call the request dot post method and pass the required parameter like URL, data means JSON data, authentication we can also pass, and this method return the response object. Similar type here, request dot put for put method, for delete method request dot delete, and for patch request dot patch. Almost same object we need to call like request, and these are the different methods. To get the status, once we get the response, just call the response dot status. This method return you status code. If you want to get the response body, right, we have already response object, just call the response content. This will give you in the byte format, right? Response.text, this method return you a string format. Like suppose that if you are getting the JSON data, here it return the string format. After that, we need to call the JSON.load method to load the string so that it convert into the JSON format, like it's deserialized. Response.json, it will convert, means give the response in JSON format. Get header, just call the response dot header method, headers method, right? It's give you all the headers details. Now let's move and let me show you how we implement this and how we automate this by using Python. So here I have a Visual Studio Code already set up. Python is also already set up in my system. Now first step, I am going to install the request module. So for that, just run the pip command install request, and you will see it will install the. So in all the dependencies, these are dependencies are already installed. That's why here it mentions already satisfied, and it install the request module only here. Next, I'm going to write the test in the PyTest. So we need to install here PyTest. This is test. So PyTest is, you can see, this is also installed successfully. Now let's move to write the some test. So as example, I am going to use the APIs which are listed, documented under the res. Okay, you can also see here there are multiple APIs are documented. As of now, I am going to use these APIs to automate by using the request library. Okay, so let's first get the endpoint URL. So for this APIs, right, they have mentioned here the endpoint URL. So this is the endpoint URL. And also if I click on the get request, because get request we can navigate on the browser, right? So you can see if I click, If I click here, you will see the complete URL as well as the response detail in the JSON format. Okay, so let's copy this URL, go to the Visual Studio. Let me add here one file, RestAPI test.py file. Okay, so first step, we need to import the request library, right? I imported request here. Let's create a method def. So test, because I am going to write the PyTest, so it will start from the test get user method. Okay, so as we discussed, we need to call the request dot get method and then pass the URL. So this method get method return the response. So I can store in a response variable. Okay, now let me print and you will see the response content. Okay, so when we are using response.content, it will return the data into the byte formats, right? We will see on the console. Okay, so let me run the test. So we need to run using pytest command, pytest, then REST API folder, and this is the file name. Okay, enter. Now, if we want to print the value, use -s along with the command. Now you can see data is printed, right? This is the response data. Here initially it added B, it means this is coming into the byte format. That's why B is mentioned. Now, if we want to get into the text format, so we can add text method and it will return the response into the text format, into the string format. Yeah, like this. Similar type for JSON. When we are retrieving this in the text format, if we want to get the value of the JSON, right, by using keys, then we need to convert into the JSON format. I will show you later. JSON, this will convert and return the data into the JSON format. Okay, so PS is missing. JSON is method. Okay, here, so we need bracket. This is data in JSON format. So get method is done, and if you want to print the response code, then just use the response dot status code. For the header, we can call the response dot headers, and this method will return the headers in the dictionary format, the key and value pair. Yeah, this is the headers coming, and this is the status code, and then here this is the JSON data. Now, if I want to get any particular value, like suppose that I want to check the content type, so we can apply here add index. Okay, and then run. Header value I am getting. If we want to add the assertion, just add assert, and here status code, right? And suppose that I am expecting 200, so just use the 200 here. For header, we can add assertion like this: response dot header content type equal, or we can use here in application JSON. Okay, so this is the, we can use like this in response dot header content. If we want to verify complete string, then we can use the equal sign. Now let me run. Yeah, done. Let me comment this. And here, if we want to verify the JSON data like page per page total and as well as these values, so we can directly use the keys. This is the JSON data, right? We can store in any variable, like I'm storing JSON data variable. Okay, we can use here assert JSON data, and here this is the JSON object, so we can pass here the page and this is the JSON object, so directly we can use the page as a key and it's equal to 2 because this is expected. Second, suppose that we want to page per page, we want to verify the per page equal to 6, add this. Next, total, just add a total key here, 12. Total page, two. Let me run and you will see it will pass. So if we want to get the data from here, right, any data, so this is the array type because JSON array, it's started from square bracket and end with square bracket, right? So the data is coming here as a JSON array, and we need to verify by using the JSON path here, right? I will discuss in the next tutorial how we verify the complex JSON data. Okay, next let me show you how we automate the post method. So here I have one more example where we can create the user by using the post method. In this request time, we need to send the payload, JSON payload, and this is the response, and response code is 200. So let me create a method, def test add user. Okay, and response you endpoint URL is same, right? Only the difference here we don't have any query parameters, and this code this method we can replace with the post. Let's see what response code I am getting. So assert status code, and our expected status code is 200. You can see here, sorry, 201, and this is the JSON payload. So let's create here JSON data. Yeah, here is the JSON data. This data we can pass here as an argument, data equal to JSON data. Okay, now let me run the test. Let me comment these outputs, and here also let me print the output so that you can see the output also. JSON. Yeah, this is the response getting name, right, job, ID, and created. Same response getting here. Okay, so only we need to change here the post, and we are passing here the JSON data or the form data eh, in the along with the post request, so we can pass those data by using data key. Again, if we want to verify the name, job name, id is dynamic basically. Only we can verify our names as well as the job name, so we can apply the assertion like we did here above. So what we can use, we can store the data in the JSON format, right? Response.json store the data in the JSON data variable, and then we can use here JSON data and key is name. Okay. Second, we can also use same thing here, JSON data job. Okay, job as key, and these are the value we need to verify we are getting. So let's pass these two value and run the test. Done. Similar type, if we want to automate the APIs for the put request, right? So for the put method, so we have here one method, test update user. Okay, here we have one API related to update user, where we need to pass the user ID, and this is the payload. This is exactly same API like we have for create, but only the difference its method type is put, and here user ID we need to pass, and same response we can get put. So this complete data we can paste here. Okay, because both requests are same, only we need to update here put and then slash user ID. So user ID is here, suppose that 2 I am passing. So I am going to comment this output so that we can see only one output, and running the test. Yeah, method is mistake here the name, so just I use the put method. Now running again. Yeah, here you can see assertion is failed for the response code because we are expecting 201, right? But actual we are getting 200. Let's see what is the response code here mentioned. Response code is 200 mentioned. So we are expected is should be also 200. Okay. Now let me run the test. You can see all the three tests passed successfully, and this is the output we are getting for the update. Next we have patch methods. In the patch, like update user with patch method. So if I go here, you will see there is one patch method available, and this patch method is exactly same like a put method, right? But only the difference, this is that method type is patch. So I can here copy complete code for this method and just change the method type patch. Let me comment this so that we will not get output here, and now only this output we will receive. So let me run and you will see the output here. Yeah, same output getting, right? What is expected here. Next is the delete method. So you can see there is one more method is available here for delete, and in this method we need to pass the user ID along with the request. So for delete, let's call create method test and delete user. Okay, a request is same, only the difference is here we have delete method need to call for delete request, and then we don't need to pass anything here. Let me print this value. Here we are getting output nothing, right? Only the response code we are getting 20. So let's verify the response code 201. Sorry, 204. Response code is 204 for this delete method, and we are printing the value. Value we will get nothing. Yes, there is no output. So now running. Let me change the code. Now test will fail because we are expecting 201, but we will receive 204. Yes, 204, right? But we are expecting 201. That's why test is failed. Okay, all these type of APIs I have done. Similar type you can use this request library to automate the API test, REST API test. This is very simple, and this is very useful, and also this is very easy. Now let me show you how we handle the authentication. So let me create one test here. So I am going to show here the basic authentication. Request def test request dot get method. So I have here one URL. This is the postmaneco.com base auth URL. So this page will fully access when we pass the credential, right? Otherwise we will get unauthorized. So let me show you by printing the status code as well as value. So let me run now the test. So call the PyTest REST API auth test auth.py -s. So here you can see unauthorized getting, and this is the response code 401. 401 means unauthorized. Now how we pass the credential here? So there is authentication, right? We need to pass username. Here username is postman for this, and password is password. Okay, this user data, authentication data, like basic username and password, we can pass here with auth keyword. Okay, passing the. Let me run, and I will show this one. The type error set object is not callable. Basically here we are passing the set, but we need to pass this tuple. So let's change this set with tuple. Yeah, you can see authorized response code 200 and response getting authorized authenticated :true. So they're getting the valid response. So how we handle the basic authentication of the using the request module? So we can pass the auth, right, basic username and password along with the request by using here. Okay, now next let me show you how we pass the query parameters as well as the headers along with the request. So this example I created here initially. So now here you can see this is the query parameters, right? How we pass these query parameters along with the request without using the passing the path. Here we can call the params and then pass the value, right? Query, this is a page, and then colon value equal to 2. If we need multiple values, just use the separate by comma and pass all the values. As of now, you can see query parameter I have only one, page equal to 2, and just remove this. And let me run the test and you will see it will work. Yeah, working, right? All the tests passed. If you want to check the response we can also, I can also show you. Yeah, response data is come. JSON response. Okay, now next, how we change, add the headers value along with the request. So this parameter we can use with any request like get, post, put, delete if needed. Now for the headers, we have also here one key headers, and then use the curly bracket, right? Like I'm going to pass accept and then colon application slash JSON. Okay, multiple headers if we have, just separate the headers value by comma and put in key and pair format by separating colon, separating the values and key using colon. So one more comma we need to add here. I missed this one. Now you can see this is running. If we have multiple parameters, just separate and pass the parameters key and value like this. Here put the key and then value. Similar type, here we can pass the key and values of the headers. Now if we want to get the intercept the response detail, how we do that? So in that case we can use the response dot request, right? So if you want to get the like headers details of the request, just use the headers. So you can see this is the header of the request, right? So we can intercept the request detail and we can print, and if needed we can also provide all these details in the logs. And if we have JSON body, right, body, we can also add response dot request dot body, so it will give us the body of the request. Here we don't have any body, so we will get blank, but in the post method we have body. I will apply there and I will show you. Getting none, right? So let me move this, add this code in add user. Here we are sending the JSON body. So if I call here the response dot body, you will see this complete data will print. Your data is printed, name like this. So this is the body, but we passed. Now the last point, how we mark the SSL verification true and false. Sometime we will get the issue SSL certificates related to. So we can here use verify equal to false, right? Just as add code like false. So now if I run the test, you will see, as of now you will see warning, right? Because we have disabled the SSL certificates, unverified HTTPS request, right? So sometime if you are getting the issue for the verification SSL certificate, so just mark the value verify equal to false and your API request will work. So by default its value is true, so you, right, so you don't need to add the verify equal to true. Only if you need, just add verify equal to false, so that in that case it will not verify with the SSL certificate. Hope this tutorial will helpful how to automate the REST API by using Python modules. Also add a comment if you have any query, right? And I will reply. And if you have not subscribed the channel, please subscribe the channel, like the video,